Hi, it's Ileana here. So I would like to discuss the show Altered Carbon. It's a TV show and how it's connected to the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, especially on the ICC Mars basis and cybernetic labs connected to the Mars basis on the surface and underground of the basis because they have the cybernetic facilities underground as well. And I have watched Altered Carbon, all 10 episodes of season 1, which came out February 2018 through Netflix. And I remember that the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, the technology, and a lot of the interpersonal connections of how the civilization is created, the world itself on Altered Carbon looked quite a lot like what the ICC does on Mars right now. And the ICC is a secret space program faction that does a lot with cybernetics and creating cyborgs and advanced technology. And that seems to be a theme that's connected with Altered Carbon, the TV show. So I want to connect some of the dots from the show and how it connects to the ICC. So I did some data points, and it goes like this. How's Altered Carbon, the TV show, connected to the interplanetary corporate conglomerate? The 6 guiding points to answer the above question. I had been an asset in the ICC on the Mars ICC basis, as well as the ICC cybernetic labs on Mars. I'm going to connect some of the dots from Altered Carbon to the ICC on Mars. Point number 1, soul transference and memory engrams. Soul consciousness transfer technology in ICC. The souls are removed from the body with mind review technology, as well as many microchips implanted in the subjects that back up the memory engrams of the person into digital databases, or the soul is held in electromagnetic containment fields until it is transferred to a new host. As well, the many microchips are removed from the host's body after they die to keep the memory engrams, or if the host is injured and the body-mind transfer needs to happen. The soul transfer technology has the ability to remove one individual's soul and transfer it into someone else's body whose soul has been removed to do temporary soul consciousness transfer, or to do it on a permanent basis. And the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, what it does is it does mind wipes and blank slating of individuals' memories. What it could do is take somebody's memories and implant it into somebody else. They could alter short-term memory, long-term memory. They can remove parts of people's memories and overlap them with somebody else's memory in that person's body. So the soul transference consciousness technology can do a lot of different things. Like somebody's memories can be transposed onto your memory engrams. So you can have partially your own memory and somebody else's memory in your brain. So what you think is your memory is partially somebody else's memories of their lifetime. Now the ICC does that on a regular basis to their assets, because they can do it and the technology exists to do it. In Altered Carbon, there are soul stacks where memory engrams of a person's entire life is electronically digitized in a type of crystalline microchip and continually backed up and uploaded to satellites or private computer databases. Now we have what is called the cloud these days, and we could digitally store information on cloud storage computers and servers Everything is backed up on satellites as well. So in theory, you could take a person's whole lifetime of their memory engrams, store it on the cloud, and transfer it into somebody else if it's backed up on satellites or in digitized forms on computerized databases. That capability does exist even now. And in the future, like 250 years from now or 300 years from now, they've done that in altered carbon. So there is a connection even right now between the digital world and soul transference capabilities. You can theoretically digitize a soul, their memory engrams, and transfer it somewhere in the cyber world to store it there, or implant it into somebody else. Physically, literally implant somebody else's memories into somebody else's body. It can be done. Point number 2 is clones, augmented cybernetic humans, cyborgs, cybernetic labs. On the ICC Cybernetic Labs, the ICC scientists have various options for building cyborgs by either splicing human body parts with cybernetic tech, implanting cybernetics into full humans to augment them with super strength and agility, creating genetically engineered humans by rebuilding the exact carbon copy of a human with perfect genetic structure, and cloning, making multiple copies of a being, but that is not a perfect carbon genetically engineered copy of the being. As well as building a completely synthetic cyborg which looks human and has the memory engrams of someone who had been alive. And what they do with the synths, the synthetic cyborgs, is they can look like anyone or anything. They have the ability to literally shapeshift in looks, physically, in height, in weight, body stature. They can look like anyone. They can alter their eye color. They can alter their facial structure, the nose, the eyes, the hair color, height, weight, anything, the body structure. They can change it literally. And because the synthetic cyborg body is made out of nanotechnology, that allows the personality that's in the synthetic cybernetic body to manipulate the synthetic body itself, to change it on a molecular physical structure, anatomically, literally change the body. Because there's, again, nanotech technology involved in all of this. So that's the capability of the synthetic synth body and whatever is implanted in it in terms of somebody's memory engrams. They can literally change that body to suit their needs physically, anatomically, hair color, voice, eye color, height, weight. Any of that can look like anybody in the synthetic body. In altered carbon, they grow multiple clones called sleeves, where the stacks are implanted into the clone bodies. The double-sleeved genetically engineered grown carbon body of the original, done with private portable genetic cloning printers, augmented humans with cybernetics tech implanted into the body, or the fully synthetic cyborg with a stack implanted into it. And in altered carbon, the synthetic cyborg could also alter its appearance to look like anyone in physical stature. Again, hair color, weight, height, to look like anyone they wanted. Because again, there's nanotechnology involved here, and it comes from extraterrestrial reverse engineered technology In Altered Carbon, they called them the elders, and they created all of this technology. And the ICC uses advanced reverse engineered technology from extraterrestrials as well to create the cyborgs and the synthetic bodies, augmented humans, all of that. It's based on extraterrestrial reverse engineered technology. And point number 3 is life extension technologies, holographic medical pods, Meditech units, 3D holographically medical assisted technology. The ICC build holographic medical pods and Meditech units that can regrow, regenerate body parts, complete age regression, cure diseases, heal wounds, and even bring back individuals from the dead. There are also drug serums designed to prolong life expectancy and age regress individuals. The holographic medical assisted technology allows surgeons to see 3D dimensional body parts and organs in real time on holographic monitors while performing surgery. In Altered Carbon, there is life extension technology like laser surgeries, which reattach body parts, regrow body parts, or bring back someone from the brink of death, similar to the holographic medical pods and Meditech units, which utilize various electromagnetic and sound frequency fields or harmonics to regenerate the body. As well, there is the sleeve and stack system of creating prolonged life of living 300 plus years through cryogenic means. The ICC has cryogenic stasis pods and regeneration tanks to achieve prolonging life expectancy. Now, the ICC uses the regeneration tanks, and they have either blue or green goo that has nanotech in it, and it basically can heal wounds. It could bring people back from the dead, or it could keep somebody in cryostasis in the regeneration tanks. So there's multiple uses for these regeneration tanks and also cryogenic stasis pods that the ICC has available to them. Point number 4 is the smart suit technology. The smart suits that the ICC builds are designed to protect the wearer from projectile fire like bullets, lasers, phasers, plasma, etc. There are electromagnetic fields around the smart suits that deflects the projectile fire. These smart suits have nanotechnology embedded within the suits, and also the incorporation of thought consciousness assisted technology that allows the wearer to power the smart suit with their mind. The smart suits have the ability to mimic clothing, change the molecular structures of the body to control biowaste, so there is no need for going to the bathroom, amplify agility and strength, speed. Smart suits also create cloaking and invisibility fields that can only be disrupted with high dosage of voltage electricity before the electromagnetic fields around the smart suit are recalibrated, and even a higher dosage of electricity is needed next time to disrupt the cloaking of the suits to make someone visible again. These smart suits allow the wearer to walk through solid and physical matter, allow for levitation and spaceflight capability, holographic interfaces with computers and digital databases, adjust bodily functions for optimal health levels, heal injuries, and provide food, nutrients, and supplements to the body to keep it alive and healthy. Now, these smart suits, some of them have been reverse engineered from extraterrestrial technologies, and they're powered with the thought consciousness assisted technology. And the wearer of the smart suit has the ability, if they wear the holographically enhanced helmet, they have the ability to teleport themselves from point A to point B on the planet by programming the location of where they want to literally transport themselves, teleport themselves from point A to point B on the planet, or to literally power this smart suit to do this space flight. So they wear the helmet, which basically adjusts the smart suit to be an environmental smart suit to balance out the oxygen levels, optimum health of the person themselves wearing the smart suit, so you don't need a ship to do short travel between planets, like from Earth to Mars, for example. You wouldn't need a ship. You can use the smart suit to either literally take yourself into space with spaceflight, or just teleport yourself from point A to point B, dematerialize your body while you're wearing the suit, and materialize in a different location. Literally, your molecules are changed during teleportation, then rematerialized after teleportation into being solid again. So the smart suits have that ability, and to interact on a holographic level with the helmet that the smart suit comes with, for communication purposes, for interfacing with computer systems, with different ships as well. So that's where the helmet comes in, and the thought consciousness assisted technology to power the suit. You power the suit with your mind. You give the suit commands. You literally can give the suit location coordinates of where you want to be teleported geographically and topographically. You give the coordinates and what even the landscape looks like for exact teleportation. In Altered Carbon, the smart suits deflect weapons fire and add strength and agility to the wearer of these smart suits, allowing for holographic interfaces with computers and digital databases. Point number 5 is virtual reality simulations. The interplanetary corporate conglomerate uses holographic virtual reality simulations to train its SSB assets for various missions, and simulates real-life scenarios that emulate having an experience that feels and looks very real, like if what a life event that an asset went through, interwoven into the memory engrams of the individual that experienced the simulation. So the individual that took part in the VR simulation can think that everything they experienced in that simulation was completely real and happened to them as part of their life, when in reality, the simulation experience is a set of holographic insert memories that were part of the simulation construct, designed to plant false memory engrams onto the individual. And these virtual reality simulations and constructs could also be used for communication purposes, like literally set up meetings with person from point A with person from point B. If you're doing long distance communications from one planet to another, these virtual constructs make it look like both of the people are actually physically there in the construct to interact with each other and to communicate with each other. So there's no more cell phones, no more smartphones, no more Bluetooth. It's literally a holographic virtual reality construct where everything looks and feels so real to you. You're participating in a virtual reality meeting with somebody else where you're interacting through voice and through physicality with that person. It just feels very real. In Altered Carbon, the holographic virtual simulations were also used for training purposes of simulating missions as tools for communication to create holographic constructs designed to create person-to-person physical missions, virtual reality prisons, and torture facilities. Now, the ICC does the same thing with their virtual reality simulations to train its assets, to literally torture them and cause pain and to create different mission parameters and simulate actual missions as training. They use the virtual reality simulations for that as well, exactly like in Altered Carbon. So both examples are almost the same in Altered Carbon and the ICC. Two links actually in that, these holographic constructs. Data point 6 is torture of children, young adults, and adults with sex abuse and slavery. The ICC uses various torture and blackmail techniques on its assets to keep them in line. It abuses children and young adults, selling them as sex slaves or bargaining tools with extraterrestrials, as well as using adults to create cyborgs, soldiers, and scouts. And the ICC tortures, maims, and kills and abuses their assets as well to get out information from them, to get information that they need from them on missions, on other things about other SSP factions. So they do torture their own assets to get from them whatever they need from them information-wise. They do that and they abuse them. And they'll even sell them into slavery just to get anything they want from the assets, to get them to cooperate for various missions. Whatever they need, they get from their assets, whether that comes through torture, through blackmail, whatever. They'll use anything and everything to get their assets to cooperate. Again, it could be through torture, through abuse, through slavery, through sex acts, whatever gets the job done, they do it. In Altered Carbon, similar themes were shown depicting torture of children, young adults, and adults with sex abuse and slavery, as well as inflicting pain and death upon middle-class citizens. And also Altered Carbon brings in another data set, another point, the difference between the elites, the middle class, and the poor. In Altered Carbon, the elites are called the Meths, which is the upper society of Altered Carbon, and they can have any stack and any sleeve they want because they have the money to afford it. There's the Grounders, the middle class, and they can't really afford new stacks or sleeves. They basically have to stay in the same body they're in and avoid damaging it because they're not going to get a new sleeve to transfer their consciousness into. And there's the poor class, which is even below the middle class, like poverty level. And they don't survive long because they're preyed upon and used in sex slavery, etc. So there's a huge disparity in Altered Carbon between all the different classes of people in that world, and they've achieved space flight and colonizing different planets and even galaxies. So they've branched out into space, which the ICC has as well. And they use and abuse their assets and citizens living on the planets that they've colonized, the ICC. So that's similarity between Altered Carbon and the ICC, the disparity in all the classes of people. And again, ICC does cloning, they do genetic engineering of carbon copies of people. They can put one being into another being's body, soul consciousness transfer, and Altered Carbon does the same thing. So in an Altered Carbon, there seemed to be a lack of different sleeves that somebody can transfer into. Like the elites could buy any sleeve they wanted and put their stack into, whereas the Grounders and the Grounders being the middle class and the poor people, they couldn't do that. They got whatever sleeve they got. Say somebody was killed. Like there was an example of a young woman, 7 years old. She was killed in Altered Carbon, and she was murdered. And her stack was put in a sleeve of an older woman. And when she became conscious of that, she was horrified because her family couldn't afford to put her in a sleeve of somebody who's small, like a 7-year-old. So she was left to be in a sleeve of an older middle-aged woman. That's what she got because they couldn't afford to have a decent sleeve for her stack. So there's the disparity in the classes. And that's similar what's happening on Earth right now. We have the elites, we have the middle class, and we have the poor. So Altered Carbon acts like a realistic show depicting the differences between all these classes of people living on Earth and off-world. And the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, it has many subsidiaries, many organizations on Earth and on Mars that make a lot of money. Also, it has private contractors and organizations which bring in tons of money for Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate on Mars and on Earth. And it's all kept secret and it's all hidden. And it makes them tons of money. So it's one of those things that's prevalent. And the private contractors are in the aeronautics business, the pharmaceutical business, these private corporations and organizations having links with Earth, because the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate on Earth is a bunch of different high-paid corporations and organizations involved with, like I said, aeronautics, spaceflight, building of ships and pharmaceuticals, advanced drug serums,